Call the meeting to order.
Lash, Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes. Next item is the approval of the minutes from the June 23rd, 2014 work session.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes. And then the minutes of the regular meeting on June 23rd.
Go ahead.
Move for approval.
Second.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes. Next item is a public hearing to annex property located at 3460 South Clark into the city limits.
Yes, Your Honor, we received a petition from Irvine Capital Management to annex this property. To cover the location and the details, I will turn to Rita Jackson. Oh, we did. Yeah, we should.
I need a
Move to open the preliminary hearing.
Second, sorry.
Second.
who made the motion?
I did.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
The City of Mexico has received a petition from Irvine Capital Management LLC, David and Ethel Irvine, to annex their property located at 3460 South Clark into the city limits. This property is located on the northeast corner of South Clark and Cunningham Road, which is designated on your map there, the blue square. Irvine Capital Management LLC purchased this property for the development of a VA medical clinic. Preliminary plans have been submitted. The purpose of this public hearing is to obtain input from any interested person, corporation, or political subdivision regarding the proposed annexation. After a 14-day waiting period, if no objection is filed, City Council will be presented with an ordinance for annexation. Staff recommends that council proceed with the advertised public hearing. And in the audience tonight, we do have David Irvine for any additional questions you might have.
To be clear, this is for, basically this is for the new VA clinic, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Or relocation, it's not actually new, but they're moving it from.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Is it gonna be a one-story or a two-story? One.
It's a one-story.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have none.
Not, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes. Next order of business is the staff report, City Hall Building Exterior Painting Project.
Yes, Your Honor. We have received bids to do exterior painting of this building, such as the soffit gutters, downspouts that are showing definite signs of wear. We did have budgeted $15,000 to cover the details. Once again, I will turn to Rita.
The 2013-14 budget allows $15,000 for painting of the exterior trim of the City Hall building. This project consists of the prep, prime, and painting of the soffits, gutters, and downspouts. An advertisement for bids was placed in the Mexico Ledger on June 11, 2014, and mailed to 3 local painting contractors. A mandatory pre-bid conference was held on June 18, 2014, and with 1 contractor participating. Bids were received on June 30th with the following bid received. Brick City Painting and Drywall of Mexico, bid amount of $12,967.50. The Missouri Department of Labor standards require all employees working on this project be paid prevailing wage. In addition, all on-site employees must have completed the 10-hour construction safety training program required under Section 296.675 of the revised statutes of Missouri. The start date for this project will be no later than Monday, August 4th, 2014. All work will be conducted Monday through Friday between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Precautions will be taken to eliminate any interruption of access to the building during the hours of operation. The work described in this project is necessary to achieve compliance with the adopted property maintenance codes of the City of Mexico. Staff recommends the council approve the bid of Brick City Painting and Drywall of Mexico in the amount of $12,967.50 for the exterior painting of the City Hall building.
Questions?
They have an idea how long it's gonna take you to done?
They are anticipating from the pre-bid, it would be no more than 2 weeks if after we got up there and it was maybe some additional trim or something that needed to be replaced.
I'm assuming that we had no one else who was interested in bidding, or?
We received no other bids. We actually mailed it out to the 3 contractors we had of record, and then it was placed as an advertisement and no one else showed up.
Okay.
Wonder why they're not working on Saturday.
You're paying prevailing wages, and you really don't want them to be on Saturday because that time actually goes.
After I said that, I realized what that was. Okay, all right.
Your Honor, I move to accept the bid of Brick City Painting and Drywall for the painting of the City Hall in the amount of $12,967.50.
Second.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Bott,
Yes. Next is a staff report, another staff report on industrial park rail repair. Bruce?
Yes, Your Honor. As a part of the industrial park, we do own the rail that goes into the park, and there is some work and repairs that need to be done on that track. And to cover the details, I will turn to Russell Rudd.
Evening. Ozark Valley Railroad was on the tracks and had a car slip off one of the rails. It's on the curve, and they noted that they were able to get the car back on. It wasn't any major deal, but they did notice that there were some repairs that needed to be done to it. In the past, we've hired Spike Construction to do that work. I called Chuck Bridgeford, and he and his partner Ray Love put together 2 separate bids after they walked the tracks to repair the track and the switch, and that amount of $13,350, and then to replace some old ties to keep it from spreading further for an amount of $12,300 for a total of $25,650. The bid included that if we were able to do it as one project, due to mobilization of the machinery and time, we would save $1,500. We do have funding available in the economic development budget, and repair of the rail is considered a specialized repair, and Spike Construction is the only local vendor that we have. As I mentioned, we've used Spike Construction before to do rail repairs, and they've done the work competently and efficiently. We recommend that council approve the bid to Spike Construction as one project in the amount of $4,150 for the repair of the industrial park spur. Questions?
When did this happen?
When did it happen?
Yeah.
About a month ago.
A month ago. So I'm just gonna be honest, I'm not thrilled with the fact that we're basically having one bid and nobody else even looking at it.
Actually,
And you said it's a localized, so you tried to explain that, but can you explain to me why we didn't have to do any of that? Because it seems like in the budget or in the bidding process, but something should happen here.
Well, from a
It's a lot of
liability
money.
standpoint, we need to get it fixed quickly.
Well, that's why I'm asking. You said it's a month ago, and then you just said
Well,
it's not a big
taken us a
deal.
while to
So
get
is it
some
a big
things
deal?
done. We actually did ask Ozark Valley to bid on it because they brought it to our attention, and they went back and forth saying, well, we can do the work, however, we can't meet your insurance requirements. So then we found Spike, asked them to do the same thing, if they would be willing to meet the insurance requirements of the city, and they could do so. But we really had thought that Ozark Valley could do the work as well. We did have actually 2 bids on it. It's really hard to get rail contractors to move quickly, so.
Are the ties rotten, are the ties sinking, or just a rail spread, or what?
We've always had problems evidently on that curve, the first curve in there of the ties spreading. And in the past, we've gone through and done a section of rail, 20 ties or so per year to try to keep caught up. So that's kind of what we're doing here.
Russell, it's probably not something that we need to worry about, but I am kind of concerned that the people who did the inspection are the people who are going to do the work. Should
Well,
that not be inspected by an independent third party and we get some kind of recommendation from them?
I suppose you could, Greg, but since it was brought to our attention by Ozark Valley, who is somewhat independent, and it was their train that's somewhat derailed, that's what led us to say we better get somebody else to look at it since they're not going to bid on it. We know that these guys have done good work for us in the past, and that's more or less it. I know that it's a matter of speed too. If they're going to be on that rail, we don't want any more cars slipping off of it. We want to be able to serve serial copper. And
If I understand you correctly, then Ozark Valley did sort of an inspection.
they did. And they had been doing that for us in the past, just kind of a courtesy, looking at the rail to make sure things were good, and if things need to be tightened up, then they did. But this was beyond a repair that they were going to be able to do. It was something that really needed to be more long-term, and they knew that it was something that needed to be done, but it's gotten to a point where it has to be taken apart and fixed.
We had some pretty stringent insurance requirements because of the type of merchandise in the rail that's going to be transported across it. And the Spike Construction could meet those insurance requirements where Ozark Valley was not able to.
Well, it sounds like a lot of money, but there's not that many people that work on a rail anymore.
That's correct.
You got your big companies at St. Louis, Kansas City area, but they won't come back for such a small job anyway. I've been fortunate doing that in the past. That's fun.
Any other questions? No. Hear a motion?
Well, Your Honor, I move to accept the bid from Spike Construction for the repair of the track and switch and replacing the old ties to keep the track from spreading in a total amount of $24,150.
Excuse me.
Williams,
No, not because I don't think they did a good job. I just don't like the way it all went. I don't like not having a bidding process.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Bott,
Yes. All right, the next item is the claims.
Make a motion to pay the claims.
Second.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Bott,
Yes. All right, council comments. Councilman Williams.
The 5K run was a good success. A lot of people came out. I see a lot of the smokers and the non-smokers are here again tonight. I'd like to recognize the Boy Scouts. Always good to see them out in the community. And I think that's all I have at the moment.
Nothing else I have. I want to wish Bruce a happy birthday. Yeah, it used to be an old age, but now it's a young age, so I won't say what age it is. We'll let it go at that. That's all I give us.
Okay, is there any update on the tool repair progress?
We're still waiting on the manufacturer that's making the special sized plugs for that gutter test to supply them to the contractor in St. Louis. That's what's holding up the testing. And we have gotten together with the design firm out of Nexa that worked on our study in 2009, and just finished working on an agreement with them today that we'll be doing a purchase order on tomorrow to move forward and getting some more solid numbers for you for budget discussions.
Okay,
And we got the valve contractor coming up Wednesday, so yeah, there's a lot of pieces moving.
okay, all right, thanks. It's been mentioned before, I think Ron mentioned it previously, but in the summertime, or in the spring and the summer, and then again in the fall, we start having a lot of signs appearing out in the neighborhoods on utility poles, and street signs, and stop signs, and of garage sales, yard sales, lost animals. While I'm sympathetic to the need for this, we have an ordinance that specifically prevents people from doing that. And I would like to see something in the media to remind folks that they're not allowed to do that. It is a violation of city ordinance to do that. And get PSD to look into it. If I take the signs, if the address is right on them generally, go to the folks, give it back to them, tell them they can't put it on utility poles. One of our stop signs out in our neighborhood the other night had 4 different signs attached to it. Someone did note that they had lost a dog, but they were good enough for a few days to come back and put on there that the dog was found. However, they've left the dog sign on the step. But it does reflect on the community. If we, after the sales are over, the signs remain there and they get weathered and they get blown by the wind, and it just looks kind of bad. And I think that the purpose of the ordinance was to keep folks from doing that. And I believe it says if you don't have authorization to put it on a sign, you can't put it there. So I'd appreciate if you look into that. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Your Honor, yes. We need to start thinking about a special work session for budget. And we were looking at, and we'll send you an email on this, but I want you to start thinking. We were looking at Wednesday, July 30th, or Thursday, July 31st, or Monday, August 4th. Sometime in that area. So again, we'll send those dates out to you, and please let us know what you think. Again, so it'd be Wednesday, August 30, Thursday, August 31st, or Monday, August 4th. That's what we'd be looking at.
What kind of time are you looking at?
We'd be starting something about 4 o'clock like we had before, and probably, hopefully be out of here by 8 o'clock. At least probably plan for a 4-hour session. All right, that's all I have.
All right, I'd like to welcome Troop 2020 this evening, and glad you're here. And now going to open it up for public comments. And if you'd like to come forward and say a few words, please come to the podium, give your name and address, and please limit it to the 3-minute time limit that we have. So.
Steve Taylor, Smoke Free Mexico Committee, Mexico, Missouri. I rise to speak in favor of the smoke-free ordinance. Those of us who work in emergency medicine and those of us who previously worked in that discipline know the futility of cardiopulmonary resuscitation. With patients who have advanced coronary disease or those with emphysema, the success rate of CPR is less than 10%. We do CPR because it is all we have to offer these patients. Cigarette smoke of the first-hand or second-hand variety over 20 to 30 years is typically the cause of these tragic deaths. Prevention by way of avoiding cigarette smoke is the key. First-hand smokers, we can only warn of the risk. Protection from second-hand smoke, however, is something this council can offer the non-smoker in this town. A smoke-free ordinance is in effect a community-wide preventive medicine program. Another thing I'd like to mention is something I heard recently to the effect that the business people in town own the air and they can do anything with it that they want. I find this astonishing. I even think that some business people would find that astonishing. In my estimation, the only person who owns the air in this town is Robert Searfoss. Now 92, he was 22 years old and the captain of a B-17 when he flew 24 missions, bombing missions over Nazi Germany. His plane often returning to base in tatters. Bob Searfoss owns the air. By comparison, the rest of us, including the business people, are mere stewards of the air, or rather caretakers of the air. With caretaking, of course, there is usually an obligation to improve the resource if possible, or at least protect it from harm. It would seem a common sense strategy to offer an unsullied resource to family, friends, and patrons. However, when common sense, even common courtesy is insufficient, it is time for the council to act. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else?
My name's Thomas Fiedler. I live at 1617 Meadow Lane here in Mexico. First, happy birthday, Mr. Slagle. I didn't know. Congratulations. I think you're older than me still. But secondly, wanted to thank Councilman Williams for voting against the rail repair. Just the size of the contract and wanting to have more information is a great step forward, something we love to see, being responsible with the money and the taxes we pay. Thirdly, there is a Second Amendment rally going on at Citizen Armory, which is up by the Slumberland furniture store. I'd love to see every one of you stop by on Saturday if you have time. I mean, I understand time restraints and everything. It's kind of short notice, but I've mentioned a couple times about the open carry law. There's going to be a lot of citizens from Mexico planning on going, and it might be a good chance for you guys to ask them what they feel about that as well. Thirdly, since it was brought up about the smoking ban and who owns the air, I'd like to point out that while we talk about secondhand smoke causes all these diseases and all these problems, little experiment you can try. Try smoking all night in a garage and see what happens. Next day, try starting your car all night in the garage. See what happens. If you own the air, or if you don't own the air, like they're if you don't have any control over the air like they're saying, then you shouldn't be able to drive your car. You're polluting everybody's air. You shouldn't drive past anybody's house. You're polluting everybody's air with something more deadly than a cigarette smoke. I've actually smoked all night in the garage back in my younger days. I guarantee you it won't kill you. I really don't actually suggest you try the car thing because I know people who have died from that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Can I interject? One of the things going around town is now we've got a letter writing campaign. There's lots of talk of petitions. Can we get copies of both of your petitions?
Yes, sir.
Can we get a copy of yours as well?
Of the ordinance?
No, of the petition, of who signed the petition, because we'd like to see who signed it, who signed theirs, who signed both, who's a citizen of Mexico, who's not a citizen of Mexico. Can we get a copy of that for the city council from your side as well? Okay.
When do you want that by, sir?
Next
meeting?
Next meeting would be fine with me.
Give it to Marcy.
Huh?
You can get it to Marcy.
Yeah, well, you can get it to Marcy anytime before this next meeting, and she'll get it to the rest of us so we can see.
Anyone else have a comment? Seeing none, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Squeeze.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Bott.
Yes.
You have to watch your patient.
get ready to go.